My name is Alan Q, representing the Paradigm team. Today I have the great pleasure of introducing you guys to Morgan Cohen, the owner of MKC and Associates Home Inspectors.
Thanks for having me out, Alan. I understand we're doing an inspection today on this home that you're buying.
Yeah, so we're buying this house here in Newton, about 100 years old, needs some work, but still costs $1 million. But today is October 15th, big day because buyers now have the right to a home inspection. So the amount of home inspections that are going to be happening are going to go way up. And so we want to do our part in educating our clients and all buyers actually about what happens during the home inspection, what things are you going to find in $1 million house. And if you see it in this, you'll probably find it in your house as well. And we're also going to create a lot of content going over how to fix these problems and how to go over an inspection report and what things you're going to find, right?
Keep in mind that no home is perfect. So every home we get in has something going on, whether it's brand new construction by the best builder or a 100-year-old home like this. There's always gonna be something we find. So when we're doing a home inspection, you wanna keep in mind that my job is to throw everything at you. So we're talking about everything from little stuff that's pre-existing, non-conforming, to big stuff. And you take all that information in and you can analyze it and decide what you need to do. We color code our report so you can see the severe stuff and the minor stuff. And also we can tell you as we go through what stuff looks like it needs to be done right away versus what things need to have attention in the future.
Perfect, let's do it.
All right, we're gonna be starting on the outside today, talking about everything out here, and then we'll be going inside, going through structural components and systems, up through all the living spaces, into any accessible attic spaces. Do you have any questions right now that going into this?
No, let's go for it.
Okay, excellent. So looking at the home, you always want to think about how the home is sited on the property. You want to think about the land around the building, whether it slopes toward the building, if it's level, or if it slopes away from the building. So you can see over here on the left side of the building, we've got a level section, the driveway is sloping a little toward the house. So that's going to be an area that we're going to be looking out for moisture issues and water infiltration in the basement. I also noticed that the downspouts for the gutter system, those downspouts are dumping out right next to the building. And then if you look at that back left corner, you can see there's actually one of the connectors for the downspout is actually missing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a lot of water coming down on this side of the building, and so we're gonna be looking at that especially. The front steps are missing handrail, so you wanna have a handrail in there. Just from looking at it right from here, you can see that those steps are not a consistent stair height. That can be a tripping hazard. Tricky to fix that with concrete steps like that. The only way to really fix that would be to actually replace them.
I know FHA has like a guideline, 3 steps. Is that what you use too, or?
Right, 3 steps or 30 inches would require a handrail.
Okay.
This home was built before any of those types of codes were enacted, so you don't have to make a pre-existing home conform to today's building code, which is a really important thing to think about when you're looking at old homes.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be things that are not meeting today's standards for safety or construction. And so when we're doing a home inspection, we're evaluating the condition of the property, including the condition of something like the stairs. And we're going to be mentioning things that are going to be a safety hazard and putting those into our report. I just want you to know that the seller doesn't have to go in and put a handrail in there if it was never required originally.
Something to pay attention to.
Yeah, another thing to pay attention to here is with these front steps, first of all, you got a little tripping hazard right here.
Yep.
Then you got some cracking and heaving here. This is pretty easy to fix. You could actually change this whole pathway if you want to, but this will just get worse over time.
Yeah.
Something to think about here is where you've got this storm door, you're coming into the house, you've got to come up here to grab the handle, and then you got to step back down. These days, when you build a house and you have an exterior door, you want a landing first, and then your steps. So that when you come up, you can actually be standing on the landing and open the door.
Okay, we'll have to extend this. While I stand here, what's happening here? See how this kind of like...
all this material here?
That's missing.
So what we're looking at here is we're looking at a porch that may have been open at one time that then probably got infilled with these window systems here. And this porch is a concrete porch. So it's got a concrete cap portion on it and concrete walls. There's probably infill rubble. So when we go up in here, I'll show you. Come on up here. So this is either solid material underneath here with a concrete cap, or it's a reinforced concrete deck with a crawl space underneath it.
Yeah.
I don't know yet until we get inside.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing on the edge right there is actually some crumbling to that cap over time. So that's not really a concern at all. It's just not so great looking, but I wouldn't even bother fixing it because it's not really something that needs repair. Let's jump back outside for a second. Okay, so just in general, looking at the house, just when I got here, I was looking at a few other things. I see a lot of old windows on the second floor. So you can see those are in rough shape.
Yeah,
We'll be
they're
taking a look
chipping
at
already.
those. Sorry?
They're chipping on the outside, yeah.
Yeah, and the frames look like they've got some rot going on there. So we're gonna test those and we're gonna look at those when we get there, up into the unit. So we got power going to the house. It looks like you have 100 amps.
Okay,
100 amps is like your minimum level of power for a single family home.
okay.
So we're gonna be looking at what types of appliances you have, what type of heating system, what type of other circuits you have in the home to see how loaded up is the actual service
Okay.
here and whether or not you would need to upgrade.
What if I want to add a hot tub?
Let's see what we get inside. I'll take a look. I'll look at the panel and I'll see what we got, and we'll see if it looks like you would have to upgrade the service to get that.
Okay,
Probably is the answer to that.
okay.
All right, so these two pipes right here at the side of the foundation, these are gonna be your oil tank fill and vent pipes. So this cap will come off, they'll fill the tank. This vent pipe will actually vent the air that's inside the tank out as the tank is being filled. And they'll hear the whistling sound that the cap makes so they know they're filling a tank. So that looks fine. Looking at these steps, we have the same concern that we had on the front where you have this uneven stair height. When you're coming down, you're gonna have these, uneven steps. Also, we don't have a graspable handrail here. We have this railing that's basically just like a 5/4 by 6 decking board that they use
So you
for
want
a
like
railing.
a pole that you can
You want
grab
something
onto.
that's
Yeah.
graspable. So it's like 1.5 inches wide, 1.5 inches away from the railing, this section right here. So you can actually grab it as you're going up the steps.
Okay.
Or it could be on
That's
this side.
easy to do.
It
That's
could be on
very-
this side. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very easy to do, especially here where you could just mount it to the inside of this. It's a little wobbly, but you could reinforce that. Another thing to think about is the baluster spacing on railings. So this is your railing, this is your balusters. They're supposed to be spaced so that a sphere 4 inches in diameter cannot fit through.
Okay.
So again, that's a today's safety standard requirement. So if I take my tape measure and take a look at this, I'm gonna get just over 4. So I got 4.5 inches here. I got 5 inches here, and I got even more over here. So that's so that a child wouldn't stick their head in and get stuck. So it's kind of a funny thing. People say like, oh my God, you don't believe it. When I was a kid, I did that. And my mom had to come and help me. But it actually happened. So that's why that standard is made. So
we'll just add a few more
just
of
add
these.
balusters in between all the
Okay.
open gaps and you're done. So this is interesting. We've got this landing on top of the concrete steps. We've got this foam boarded in here. So that's gonna be either to keep air out or pests out. Doesn't look so great. I would get rid of the foam and instead use a masonry product like a cement or mortar just to kind of fill that in and get a better
Parch
look
coat.
to that. And then you could parch coat. You could re-parch coat the whole thing. You could actually coat it with a masonry appropriate paint, but you still have this step that you have to contend with here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
At least this side has the landing good to the front.
right, you got a landing here and it's covered, which is great. So as long as you got a handrail that's graspable, that's gonna be a lot safer. All right, let's take a look inside here. This is gonna be a little crawl space underneath the porch. So take a look at this insulation. Come on down right in here.
Yep.
So look right over my shoulder. You can see this is
yeah.
insulation pulling down. So this space above us can be heated or conditioned space, we call it. So you want to get good insulation underneath here so the cold air that's in this little space here isn't going to make it cold up in that living space. So you want to re-insulate underneath here. And I can see there's a whole lot of debris here. Looks like some mouse droppings. So there's been some mouse activity in here. Mice can get into pretty much any home that has a hole that's like a pinky, your pinky can fit in.
Oh, wow.
So when you're going around the house, you want to find all the holes and gaps around pipes, wires, where mice can fit, and you want to seal those up. Because they're going to, especially now that it's getting cold, they're going to be wanting to find the warm spaces to get in there. But yeah, I would definitely go in here and re-insulate. We'll take a look at the inside space to see how this is heated above us. But definitely some old framing in here, but it's not really rotted. We want to clean all this up and get all this debris out of here. All right, so here was your bulkhead. We got your bulkhead right here. This is locked from the inside, so we'll be able to open that when we get into the basement. Okay. Something to think about here is just where you have these gaps. So see this kind of gap right here?
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
it's
a
much
typical
bigger than a
entry
pinky.
point. I can get my whole hand in there. So this is also shifted, possibly from like snow and ice getting in here, water freezing, pushing this apart a little bit. It looks like these are some type of threaded bolt that they kind of added this wood frame on here and then laid the bulkhead door on. So you're gonna wanna tighten all that up. We'll open this and see how well it works. Okay, so here's where we're talking about the downspout that comes down out of the gutter. You have these elbow pieces that sometimes will come disconnected and they'll just blow off and fly off somewhere.
What's
I don't
happening
see it
here
lying
with this?
here. So that water that's gonna come out of there is gonna go right down next to the foundation. Notice we have the downspouts going down into in-ground pipes. The downspout comes down right here, goes into this in-ground pipe. We don't really know where that's going. So a lot of these old houses, those cast iron pipes would just go right down into the soil, into basically like a pit that's filled in with stone.
Yeah.
We call that a dry well.
Okay.
So the intention was water would come down, drain into the pipe, go into the ground, and then just dissipate over time through that dry well. But they could go somewhere else. They could go out to daylight somewhere. We don't know.
Yeah.
The thing you're gonna wanna do is as long as these are draining and they're actually, the water's flowing and draining during heavy rains and it's not getting into the basement, that's a good thing. You're gonna wanna monitor this to see if water is overflowing here. If it's overflowing here, then that means that this is either clogged or the dry well is just filled up with silt and it's just not draining. In which case, then you would have to do something else.
Just
Run
set
it
the
out.
hose down there and fill up for a couple minutes and see what happens.
Well, you can do that just when it rains.
Yeah.
You can just see it,
Okay.
see it happening. But you'd have to do something else, like run the downspout out. This gets a little tricky because you have the driveway here, so you can't go across the driveway. Today, in new construction, homes have to manage all the runoff on site. So they have to run those downspouts down into in-ground piping that goes to a in-ground catch basin, would catch all that water and accommodate it. But these older homes didn't have to do that.
Just run it to your neighbors.
So take a look at these basement windows. These basement windows are classic old basement windows. They're wood, they're single pane. You've got broken glass, you got the glazing putty is all gone and the frames are in rough shape. And then the whole sill section is just in really rough shape. So you can see this is just really crumbling and deteriorating. What's happening here is that these windows never had a window well in front of them. A window well is that type of hole in the ground right in front of a basement window that allows water to drain down. And if there's like snow and ice, it can go into that well. And it keeps the wood dry. And then it won't rot. So that happened, so it rotted.
How many inches do I need to dig down?
So usually what you want is 6 to 8 inches below your basement window sill to the bottom of the window well. And you want a couple inches of gravel there. So you want to dig down like a foot below the grade here, put in the window well, put in the gravel, and then you're going to need to replace. So the whole window has to be replaced. In this case, you can't just replace the sill because the window is in such rough shape. So you can put in, instead of this type of window, you can put in like a new vinyl slider type window. It's double insulated. It's going to help prevent cold air from getting into the basement. And it's going to be a better window overall for this type of application. The other thing we're looking for here is we're looking at insect damage. So if you look at this wood, you can see it's actually dry and it's kind of hard. So it doesn't look like you have active issues right now, but this looks like some old insect damage here. So we're going to be also looking for insect damage in the framing around this window when we get into the basement. So we're not too worried about the insect damage to the sill because that needs to be replaced anyway. Yeah, you can, go ahead and pull on it.
This is my house, so.
He doesn't mind doing it. Yeah, so this looks like old powder post beetle damage. See all these little holes right here? This is not termite damage. This is not carpenter ant damage. Carpenter ants and termites are your main insects that you need to worry about when it comes to wood destroying insects and structural damage. Termites feed on wood in the home and they nest in the ground outside. So they go back and forth and they eat the wood in the home. Carpenter ants nest in the wood.
Gotcha.
And so we'll be looking for both of those things as we go. But right now, this is just some old powder post beetle and some other rot. So not a big concern, but we still need to replace this window. That guy right there, this opening right here is an old gravity air opening. So old air furnaces used to have an opening to the exterior where it would bring in fresh air. So I'm using my flashlight here because it's a little dark, but this opening right here is an old original opening for the heating system. So these old homes some of them used to have gravity air furnaces and they needed this opening. Over time, that furnace is no longer in use. So people have just kind of jammed a bunch of stuff in here to fill in that opening to prevent cold air from coming in. So what you're gonna wanna do is basically just get rid of this, fill this in and patch it over. We'll see what it looks like from inside. There might even be a duct still attached to this. Sometimes we see that, but I don't know yet because I haven't been in the basement yet. The important point you need to know is you don't need that anymore. Another old basement window, and this one has the dryer vent inside the screen area, which is really a no-no because what tends to happen is you get lint that's in your dryer vent coming out here and getting trapped between the screen and the window. And so you can see a bunch of lint right here. Over time, that'll actually block that up so much that you're not gonna get airflow.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take a long time to dry your clothes. Plus, it's a safety hazard. If you get lint buildup, you could have it back up in your dryer vent and you could catch fire. So you're gonna wanna fix that.
Should I just take the screen off then as a solution?
So you wanna take the screen off, number one. Also, I can see that the vent isn't properly attached to this infill portion right here. So you wanna secure that dryer vent hood to that metal piece right there. That's all you have to do. You may decide you wanna replace this window as part of your project when you're doing that window, because this one's a really old window as well. And so we'll see the other windows in the basement.
And then what? Send it through the sill plate?
Well, one of the options you can do these days with these basement windows is you can put in either a smaller slider with a dedicated area for the dryer
that's not a
vent,
bad idea.
or you can put in glass block. A lot of people like that because it's secure.
Yeah.
You get daylight in the basement, but it's also like insulating, and you can have an integrated dryer vent block that would allow you to do that. So there's a lot of companies out there that do a lot of basement window replacement, and you have some good options there. Again, you want to get that window well in front of here. And also we're seeing some cracking to the foundation right here. See this crack?
Yeah.
Let me get my flashlight on that. So we're seeing some cracking to the foundation right here and some crumbling in this section right here around the basement window. We'll take a look at this crack when we get inside. We want to see how big is that crack? Does it look like any water is getting in? Does it look like a structural problem or not? From here, I just can't tell you.
Okay.
It looks fine, basically, from here, but I need to look inside.
There's a crack inside.
Okay.
You'll find it.
Yeah, so we were talking about roof drainage before. We were talking about the gutter and the downspout. Now the downspouts coming down here, and you notice we got some material coming out of the downspout connection right here.
Yeah.
So that connection is actually the opposite way that it's supposed to go. The top piece is supposed to go inside the piece below it, so that when water and debris comes down, it'll keep going. Here is the other way around. It's the lower piece is inside the top, so water streaming out around it. On top of that, we don't have any extension here. It's just dumping out right next to the foundation. So this is gonna be another location we're gonna be looking for moisture infiltration, water infiltration in the basement.
Yeah, and you said that the driveway kind of tilts this way, so all the water is just gonna be sitting right here.
Yeah, so far my main concerns for water infiltration are this front corner right here and the back left corner. So looking at the roof on this home, you have two kinds of roofing on this home. You have your main roof, and then you have that front section of roofing. The main roof is an architectural style asphalt shingle roof. It looks fairly recent. It looks like it's in the less than 5-year range.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the joint between the chimney and the roof, and they did a nice job with the flashing there. That's the material that goes between the roof and the chimney. You could use some mortar on some of the mortar joints of the chimney.
Oh yeah, I see some,
But overall, the structure of the chimney looks good.
Good looking chimney.
Yeah, it is a good looking chimney.
It has a cap.
It's actually unusually extra detailed compared to most houses of this type. Usually you'll just see a straight brick with maybe a little bit of a detail where it corbels out on the crown. Here you have that double. Kind of nice. Nice chimney.
Sucks because we're gonna remove it.
Are you? Okay, well, we'll talk about that. I mean, we don't know what this is venting yet. I'm guessing heating system, water heating system so far, but probably not a fireplace. So once we get inside, we'll see exactly what this chimney's venting. You also have this front roof. This front roof is gonna be a rubber membrane roof. It could be an old rolled asphalt roof, but if it was, I would actually see I can tell by the edges, just from what I can see, that it's probably a rubber membrane. So that's like a synthetic rubber. And then other things we're seeing here on the roof is we see the two pipes sticking out of the roof.
Okay.
Those are plumbing vents. So what they do is they allow air from the drain system to go out. So like your sewer system, sewer pipe. Some people call it the stink pipe, or like when you get up, if you were up there, you could smell the odors from it. But generally what that does is that allows air to flow out of the system when water is draining.
Heard.
And then you have that rectangular box vent up there. That's an exhaust vent to allow air that's in the attic to go out.
Okay.
That brings us to talking about ventilation a little bit. So when you have a home, you're gonna wanna have the attic space be properly ventilated and properly insulated. So insulation goes over your living space to keep you nice and warm and reduce heat loss going out of your heated space and into the attic. And ventilation keeps the roof surface cool in the summer, so your home's more efficient and cooler. But it also keeps the roof surface cooler in the winter so that you don't get ice dams.
Gotcha.
So you've probably seen ice dams before, or at least heard about them.
In my other house.
Okay, so those are no fun. You got that ice melt and snow melt from the roof because of that heat loss we just talked about. The water trickles down to the eave, freezes on the eave, and then that makes that big hunk of ice that's your dam. And then any more water wants to come down, hits that ice, has nowhere to go, and it goes into the roof shingles and down into your home. So that's why you want good ventilation. And when you have a roof surface like this that's got 4 sides, we call that a hip roof, you don't have a very long ridge. So the ridge is just that little bit that's right up over there by the chimney. And so you don't have a lot of space to put in a good ridge vent. So you have to put in roof vents, and that's what that square vent is.
Yeah, there's no gable either, so yeah.
There's no gable. So you can't do a gable vent, and you can't do, and so just one vent isn't enough for this type of roof. So we're gonna look at the other sides to see if you have more vents. Usually they don't put them on the front because they think they don't look so great, but we're gonna wanna see vents on all 3 of those other sides.
Okay.
So you can get that airflow out. And we also wanna see corresponding ventilation on that overhanging eave.
Okay.
So that would be called your soffit vent. So let me show you with my laser. So we're talking about this area right here. You want actually those perforated sections right there. See those darker spots that are on the whole soffit section there? Those are supposed to allow air to go in. And sometimes in these older homes, we see that these vent covers were put on, but sometimes there's no vent at all. So when we get into the attic, we're gonna be able to see if those are actually vented.
Okay.
Any questions about the roof?
No?
All right, great.
So before we move inside, any red flags you see on the outside?
So far, the big concern for me is there water infiltration in the basement? What's going on with that crack? And then just general approach, handrails and safety concerns on the exterior for getting into the home so no one trips and falls.
Okay, so some minor handyman stuff on the outside with the handrails, and then we'll do some more research on that crack.
That, and then you also want to improve this gutter system, downspout system.
Yeah.
So that's really easy stuff to do. Overall, it looks pretty good for the age of the home.
Yeah.
I'm also concerned about these front windows. The rest of the windows also look like older vinyl windows, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, you'll see the windows from the inside. They're not that great.
Okay. Okay.